Welcome to the Dreamless Scribe, where each gentle chronicle carries you from restless thought into peaceful dream-filled sleep. Tonight, we'll explore the quiet, unseen work that followed Rome's thunderous gladiator games. Before you get comfortable and we begin, take a moment to like this video and subscribe so we can bring more soothed stories to you. Let us know in the comments what part of the world you're listening from. Rome always loved distant voices. Now, settle in, let the day drift away, and allow these quiet pages of the past to usher you into rest. Picture yourself in the Colosseum just after sunset. The crowd's roar has faded, torches sputter against cooling marble, and you stand alone on the arena floor with a worn wooden broom in your hands. Tonight, you are the keeper of Rome's peace, tasked with sweeping away the echoes of combat so the city may wake to pristine grandeur. You step through the gate of life into the arena just as the final spectators disappear into Rome's twilight streets. The silence hits you like a physical thing, so complete after hours of thunderous cheering that your ears ring with phantom applause. 50,000 voices have dissolved into the warm evening air, leaving only the whisper of your sandaled feet against sand and the distant murmur of the city beyond these towering walls. The arena floor stretches before you like a vast moonlit beach. Sand that was pristine white this morning now bears the memory of the day's contests. Darker patches where leather and bronze met, scattered impressions of fallen shields. The gentle depressions where gladiators once knelt in salute to the emperor's box. You breathe deeply, tasting the lingering scent of sawdust and spilled wine, the faint metallic tang that always follows combat, and beneath it all, the clean smell of Roman engineering, marble dust and mortar, the mineral scent of aqueduct water flowing through hidden channels. You are a public slave, assigned to the amphitheatre's maintenance, working under the oversight of the aediles, Rome's officials responsible for public buildings and sanitation. Born in the Subura district, where narrow streets smell of garum and fresh bread, you've spent years learning the quiet responsibility of erasing each day's drama, preparing this temple of spectacle for tomorrow's fresh pageantry. The tools of your trade rest comfortably in your weathered hands. A broom of date palm fibres, soft enough not to scratch the marble, yet sturdy enough to sweep away the day's debris. Your copper scraper gleams dully in the torchlight, its edge worn smooth by years of gentle use. Most precious of all is your bucket of seawater, drawn fresh from Ostia and mixed with crushed lavender and vinegar, a cleaning mixture that experienced workers have perfected over generations. Above you, the Colosseum's 5 stories rise like a stone mountain against the darkening sky. The awning system, the velarium, has been retracted for the night, leaving the arena open to the first stars. You can hear the gentle settling sounds of cooling stone, the soft tick of torches burning lower in their brackets, and from somewhere in the city beyond, the distant notes of a lute drifting from a tavern where wine flows and citizens recount the day's victories. You begin where you always begin, at the centre of the arena, where the sand is deepest and the memory of combat strongest. The sand beneath your feet tells stories. Here, fine particles mixed with sawdust to better absorb moisture. There, coarser grains that provide grip for leather-soled sandals during the heat of battle. Each grain has witnessed something: a gladiator's final breath, a crowd's collective gasp, the thud of a fallen shield. Your broom moves in slow meditative circles, the date palm fibres whispering against sand with a sound like gentle rainfall. You've learned to read the arena floor like a scroll. This darker patch shows where a retiarius cast his net. That shallow depression marks where a heavily armoured secutor fell to one knee. But you don't dwell on these stories. Instead, you focus on the rhythm of your work, the steady sweep and gather that has become as natural as breathing. The sand shifts and flows beneath your ministrations, revealing the engineering marvel hidden below. Trapdoors, carefully concealed, that once lifted wild beasts and elaborate stage sets into the arena. the hypodium, those ingenious mechanical lifts that could raise anything from a painted backdrop to a living elephant, now rest silent in their underground chambers. You've seen them work during the day, marvelling at Roman ingenuity, but now they sleep beneath your feet like benevolent giants. As you work, you become aware of the arena's breathing. Cool air flows up through the underground passages, carrying the scent of damp stone and the faint sweetness of the herbs used to calm the animals housed below. The sand beneath your broom shifts like an hourglass, each grain settling into its proper place with infinite patience. You pause occasionally, not from tiredness but from the simple pleasure of watching particles dance in the torchlight, swirling and settling in patterns that remind you of the spiral mosaics in wealthy Roman homes. This work requires no haste. Rome's citizens sleep now, and the arena won't fill again until tomorrow's sun reaches its zenith. So you take your time, letting the coarse grains slip through your fingers like minutes, feeling the slight coolness that rises from the sand as the day's heat slowly dissipates into the night air. The arena that witnessed today's triumphs now prepares for tomorrow's dramas, clean and patient and ready. The moon, 3/4 full and climbing, transforms the Colosseum into something ethereal. Travertine that blazed white under the afternoon sun now glows with soft, pearl-like luminescence. You pause in your sweeping to admire the play of light and shadow across the arena's curved walls, the way moonbeams slip through the arched openings to paint silver rectangles on the sand. This amphitheatre, you know from years of working within its walls, is a marvel that will outlast empires. Its 80 entrances, the vomitoria, can empty all 50,000 spectators in just 15 minutes, a feat of crowd management that would impress even the most skilled Roman administrator. You've watched this exodus many times, marvelling at how streams of humanity flow through the numbered archways, like water finding its natural course. Beneath your feet, the hypodium, the underground network of tunnels, chambers, and mechanical devices, stretches like a buried city. During the day, gladiators wait there in the cool darkness, listening to the crowd's roar filtering down through stone and sand. Wild animals pace in their cages, breathing the same underground air that now rises gently around your ankles. Stage hands operate the pulleys and counterweights that transform the arena floor into forests, lakes, even miniature mountains for the elaborate hunts that precede gladiatorial contests. But tonight, all of this engineering genius serves a different purpose: to create perfect acoustics for the sound of your broom against sand, to channel cool air that keeps you comfortable as you work, to provide the subtle support that makes each step across the arena floor feel solid and secure. You brush sand from around one of the concealed trapdoors, revealing bronze hinges green with age, but still perfectly functional. Roman engineers built not just for spectacle, but for centuries, and you take quiet pride in maintaining their work. Tomorrow these mechanisms might lift a cage of imported lions or an elaborate piece of scenery, but tonight they rest, covered and protected by your careful attention. The arena itself measures 83 metres by 48 metres, an elliptical space designed to keep action moving while providing optimal viewing angles for spectators. The wooden floor, now long gone, was once covered with sand, whose Latin name, arena, gave us our word arena. Every detail was calculated: the height of the surrounding wall, the angles of the seating, the acoustics that carried a gladiator's last words to the emperor's box 50 metres away. The sand tells different stories every night. The voice comes from the shadows near the gate of death, and you look up to see another worker approaching, her terracotta oil lamp casting a gentle circle of light around her feet. She's been your fellow labourer for 3 years now, ever since she was assigned to assist with the amphitheatre's maintenance, one of the few women among the public slaves who earned respect through skill and dedication. You lean on your broom handle, grateful for the companionship. Tonight it speaks of a good day, clean victories, honourable defeats. She sets down her lamp and produces a small loaf of bread from her satchel, panis quadratus, the square-scored bread that marks her as a recipient of the grain dole. She tears it carefully, offering you half with the unconscious generosity that makes this friendship precious in a world where kindness isn't guaranteed. The bread is still warm from the bakery ovens, its crust crackling softly as you bite into it, revealing the dense, satisfying crumb that Roman bakers have perfected over generations. The crowd seem pleased today, she observes, settling beside you on the marble step that separates the arena from the first row of seats. I heard singing in the streets as they left, always a good sign. You nod, chewing thoughtfully. Good crowds mean peaceful clean-up work. When spectators leave satisfied, they're less likely to throw things, less likely to scuffle in the exits, less likely to leave behind the kinds of messes that make your job unpleasant. Tonight's arena bears the evidence of an audience that appreciated the spectacle without becoming unruly. Your conversation flows like water, unhurried and natural. You discuss the rising price of olive oil, the new fountain being built in the forum, the way lavender planted around the amphitheatre helps keep mosquitoes at bay during summer games. These are the comfortable concerns of those who serve Rome, small worries that feel large in the moment but fade into pleasant memory by morning. Her lamp flame dances in the slight breeze, casting moving shadows that make the arena walls seem alive. The oil burns with a faint scent of rosemary, another trick learned over years of night work. Herbs added to lamp oil to mask the less pleasant odours that can linger in any public building. Together, you move toward the Gate of Death, where fallen gladiators were once carried from the arena. The spoliarium, the room where armour was removed and bodies prepared, now stands empty, but it still requires attention. Your footsteps echo softly in the vaulted corridor, the sound bouncing off stone walls that have witnessed countless passages between victory and defeat. Tonight, the spoliarium holds only the remnants of pageantry. A net tangled in the corner, its weighted edges still bearing sand from the arena floor. A collection of wooden shields, some chipped from practice rather than combat, stacked neatly for the armourers to repair. A bronze helmet, its plume detached, waiting for skilled hands to restore its martial glory. You work without speaking, each task requiring only the gentle cooperation that comes from shared purpose. Your companion folds the net with practiced efficiency, her movements as graceful as a dancer's. You stack the shields with care, checking each one for damage that might endanger tomorrow's participants. The helmet you set aside for special attention. Its bronze surface bears the patina of age and use, but no dents that would compromise its protection. Even in a city of spectacle, someone must smooth the stage for dawn. This thought comes to you often during these quiet hours, bringing a sense of purpose that makes the work feel meaningful rather than merely assigned. Rome's glory depends not just on its gladiators and senators, but on workers like you who ensure that each day begins with order and cleanliness. The corridor stretches ahead, lined with alcoves where equipment waits for morning. Your lamp flame flickers off bronze and leather, creating a warm, amber atmosphere that transforms utilitarian space into something almost cozy. You can hear water flowing somewhere in the walls, the aqueduct system that brings fresh water from the Sabine hills, a constant reminder of Roman engineering prowess. As you clean and organise, you understand your place in the great machinery of entertainment. The gladiators who fought here today will sleep tonight in comfortable quarters, their wounds tended by skilled physicians. The spectators have returned to their homes, their conversations filled with the day's excitement. But your work ensures that tomorrow's dramas can unfold on a stage worthy of the empire's grandest city. The sound of flowing water draws you deeper into the amphitheatre's infrastructure. Here, where few spectators ever venture, the Aqua Claudia, one of Rome's greatest aqueducts, provides the constant flow of fresh water that makes the Colosseum's operations possible. The channel runs behind a bronze grate, its surface reflecting your lamp flame like a moving mirror. You pause to appreciate this marvel of engineering. Water that fell as rain on distant mountains now flows past your feet, as clear and cold as mountain streams. The Roman engineers who designed this system understood that cleanliness and spectacle go hand in hand, that an amphitheatre serving 50,000 people requires not just dramatic architecture, but also practical solutions for sanitation and maintenance. Your companion cups her hands, drawing water to splash her face. Still cold, she observes with satisfaction. The mountain snow must be melting. You do the same, feeling the shock of cold water against skin warmed by the night's work. The sensation is wonderfully refreshing, a reminder that Rome's reach extends far beyond its 7 hills to encompass watersheds and distant peaks. This water has travelled more than 40 miles to reach your hands, flowing through carefully calculated gradients that maintain just enough pressure to serve the city's needs. The trickling sound becomes a natural white noise, a constant background that your mind can follow toward rest or let fade into unconsciousness. You've noticed that the few visitors who see these hidden areas often comment on the peaceful sound of water in the Colosseum's corridors, how it contrasts with the thunderous noise of the arena itself. Even in a building dedicated to spectacle, the Romans understood the value of quiet spaces where the mind can rest. You trail your fingertips through the flowing water, marvelling at its clarity. No Roman takes this gift for granted. Too many have travelled to lands where water is scarce, where entire cities must be built around the availability of a single spring or well. Here, clean water flows constantly, available for washing, drinking, and the countless practical needs of a great amphitheatre. This is the hidden foundation of Roman civilization. Not just the dramatic conquests or political achievements, but the patient engineering that brings mountain water to city fountains, that creates the infrastructure, allowing 500,000 people to live together in relative health and comfort. As the stars wheel overhead, your thoughts drift to the lessons that brought you to this work. Your father served as a legionnaire in Germania, spending 25 years on the frontier before returning to Rome, with stories of dark forests and fierce tribal warriors who fought with weapons of iron and wills of steel. But it wasn't the dramatic tales of battle that shaped your understanding of duty. It was the quiet lessons he taught about discipline and service, how to maintain equipment in conditions that would break lesser spirits, how to find dignity in necessary work, whether building roads through hostile territory or ensuring that Rome's greatest amphitheatre remains worthy of its citizens. The empire stands, he used to say, not because of heroes, but because of workers who do their tasks well. He taught you to see your labour not as drudgery, but as service, maintaining the spaces where community happens, where shared experiences bind people together across differences of class and origin. Tonight, as you pause in your work, you feel his presence in the rhythm of your movements, the care with which you handle even the simplest tools. He would have approved of your attention to detail, your respect for the amphitheatre as both architectural marvel and sacred space where Romans come to remember who they are. The memory brings not sadness, but gratitude. Your father died peacefully in his sleep 3 winters ago, surrounded by what family remained and honoured by his neighbourhood. His funeral procession included fellow veterans and neighbours who remembered his kindness and reliability. It was, you realise, the kind of death that makes life meaningful. Not grand or dramatic, but worthy of respect and gentle remembrance, even for one born into bondage. Your own story, the night's work at the Colosseum, the careful maintenance of equipment and spaces, the quiet satisfaction of service well performed, becomes part of a larger narrative. Not a dramatic tale of conquest or political intrigue, but a steady thread of competence and care that helps weave the fabric of Roman civilization. Your final circuit of the arena takes you past familiar landmarks made strange by darkness and solitude. The imperial box where emperors once sat to judge the worthiness of gladiators now stands empty, its purple cushions removed until the next games. The spot where the day's victor received his palm branch and purse of gold now shows only smooth sand marked with the perfect, parallel lines of your broom. Each step of this final inspection brings quiet satisfaction. The arena floor lies smooth as parchment, ready for tomorrow's fresh stories. Equipment has been sorted, cleaned and stored. The water channels run clear, the corridors smell of lavender and clean stone, and the great amphitheatre settles into its nightly rest with the dignified silence of work well done. You pause at the arena's centre, where the sun will cast its first rays when dawn arrives. Here you press your broom handle into the sand, creating a single straight line, a signature that says someone cared enough to make this space perfect. Then with a gentle sweep of your foot, you erase the line, leaving no trace of your presence. This small ritual pleases you every night. All traces fade, making room for tomorrow's stories. The arena that witnessed today's triumphs now prepares for tomorrow's dramas, clean and patient and ready. Your work creates not monuments, but possibilities, space for new heroes to emerge, new stories to unfold, recent memories to be made by citizens who will never know your name, but will benefit from your care. Your companion joins you at the centre, her own work complete. Together, you stand in the heart of the greatest amphitheatre in the world, surrounded by the sleeping stones of empire. The silence is profound but not empty. It hums with potential energy, the gathered breath of a space that knows it will soon ring again with human voices. Above you, the stars continue their eternal dance, indifferent to human ambition, but somehow blessing this moment of completion. The work is done, the stage is set, and tomorrow Rome will wake to find its greatest theatre ready once again to host the dramas that define an empire. Before leaving, you descend into the Hippodrome, the vast underground complex that serves as the amphitheatre's hidden foundation. Here, in corridors lit by oil lamps, you perform the final checks that ensure tomorrow's performances will proceed without incident. The air is cooler here, carrying the scent of damp stone and the faint perfume of the herbs used to calm the wild animals that sometimes perform in the arena above. Your footsteps echo softly as you move through chambers where gladiators once prepared for combat. The walls bear the scratches of countless names, not famous warriors whose victories are recorded in official histories, but ordinary men who faced extraordinary circumstances and wanted to leave some mark of their presence. Florus was here, reads one inscription. Gaius remembers Julia, says another. These simple messages move you more than any heroic statue or elaborate monument. The mechanical rooms fascinate you as always. Here teams of slaves and technicians operate the complex systems that transform the arena floor into whatever the day's spectacle requires. Pulleys, counterweights, and wooden tracks create a theatrical machinery that can lift entire forests or miniature mountains from the underground chambers to the sand above. Tonight, these machines rest like sleeping giants, their bronze fittings gleaming in the lamplight. You check the animal cages, though none currently hold occupants. The iron bars are clean, the straw fresh, the water troughs filled with clear aqueduct water. Even when empty, these spaces must be maintained. Tomorrow might bring exotic creatures from Africa or India, and they deserve proper care regardless of their ultimate fate in the arena above. Your companion tends to the gladiators' quarters, ensuring that the sleeping pallets are clean and the small shrines to various gods properly maintained. These rooms tell stories of men who lived on the edge between life and death, who found ways to create meaning and companionship in circumstances that would crush ordinary spirits. The respect in her movements honours their courage without romanticising their situation. As you work in these hidden chambers, you understand that this underground world made the spectacles above possible. Every dramatic entrance, every surprise appearance of exotic beasts, every transformation of the arena floor All of it depended on the careful preparation and maintenance that happens in these tunnels beneath the sand. The armory requires special attention. Here, the tools of gladiatorial combat wait in carefully organised rows. Swords, tridents, nets, shields, and helmets all gleam with the oil that prevents rust and ensures reliable performance. You and your companion move among these implements of war with the same care you would show in a temple, understanding that respect for the tools honours the men who wielded them. Each weapon type tells a story of strategy and skill. The retiarius net, with its weighted edges and trailing rope, speaks of speed and agility. The heavy shield of the secutor reflects a fighting style based on protection and patient stalking. The trident of the net fighter gleams with 3 sharp points designed to penetrate armour at precisely calculated angles. You clean each piece with oil and soft cloth, checking for damage that might prove fatal in tomorrow's contests. A loose rivet, a hairline crack in a sword blade, a weakness in a shield's leather binding. These details matter enormously to the men whose lives depend on their equipment's reliability. Your careful attention represents a form of compassion that gladiators rarely receive from other quarters. The helmets are particularly fascinating to maintain. Each one represents a different fighting style, a different approach to the ultimate test of courage and skill. The smooth bronze of a murmillo helmet, its fish crest gleaming in the lamplight. The elaborate visor of a thraex, designed to protect while allowing clear vision. The simple effectiveness of a secutor's armour, every line calculated for maximum protection with minimum weight. As you work, you think about the men who will wear these pieces tomorrow. Some are slaves fighting for freedom, others are free men who chose the arena for glory or gold. All deserve equipment that will serve them well, and your maintenance work becomes a form of prayer for their safety and success. This is the hidden foundation of spectacle, not just the dramatic moments that crowds remember, but the patient care that ensures those moments can unfold safely. Your work in the armory connects you to the gladiators themselves, creating a bond of respect across the vast social distances that separate your worlds. Your final inspection takes you to the Colosseum's upper levels, where small gardens have been planted between the supporting arches. These hidden spaces bloom with herbs and flowers that most spectators never see. Lavender to repel insects, rosemary for its cleansing scent, small olive trees that provide both beauty and practical oil for the lamps. The gardens represent Rome's genius for combining the practical with the beautiful. What could have been merely functional space has been transformed into something that pleases the eye and soothes the spirit. You water the plants with careful attention, understanding that these small oases of green make the great stone amphitheatre more human and welcoming. Your companion picks fresh lavender, rubbing the flowers between her palms to release their scent. The fragrance mingles with the night air, creating a perfume that will linger in memory long after the work is done. These simple pleasures, the feel of cool stone, the scent of growing things, the satisfaction of tasks completed, make the amphitheatre feel like something more than merely a workplace. From this height, you can see across the city to the 7 hills that define Rome's geography. Lamplight twinkles from countless windows, marking the homes of citizens who attended today's games and now rest in their beds, dreaming perhaps of the spectacles they witnessed. The city spreads below you like a vast constellation, each light representing a life touched by the day's entertainment. The view reminds you of your place in the great community of Rome. Your work serves not just the amphitheatre, but the entire city, ensuring that citizens can gather safely, that their shared experiences unfold in clean and worthy surroundings, that the empire's grandest stage remains ready for whatever dramas tomorrow might bring. These gardens, hidden from public view, but essential to the building's character, reflect your own role in Roman society. Invisible to most, necessary to all, tended with care by those who understand, that civilization depends on countless small acts of maintenance and improvements. As the first pale hints of dawn appear in the eastern sky, you and your companion complete your final tasks. The amphitheatre stands ready for another day, its sand smooth, its corridors clean, its equipment maintained and organised. You have transformed a space marked by the day's intense dramas into something pristine and welcoming for tomorrow's fresh possibilities. The changing of responsibilities happens quietly. The day shift workers begin to arrive, other public slaves who will tend to the spectator areas, vendors who will prepare food for the crowds, officials who will oversee the day's logistics. You pass them in the corridors with nods of acknowledgement, understanding that you are all part of the same great enterprise of maintaining Rome's most spectacular public space. Your own shift ends as it began, with careful attention to detail. Tools cleaned and stored, supplies replenished, mental notes prepared for those who oversee the work. The labour requires no fanfare or recognition. Its own completion is reward enough, along with the knowledge that you have served the city and its people well. The transition from night to day work reflects the endless rhythm of service that keeps Rome functioning. While citizens sleep, workers ensure that the city wakes to clean streets, fresh bread, and properly maintained public buildings. Your role in this vast enterprise may be small, but it is essential to the larger machinery of civilization. As you prepare to leave, you take one last look around the arena. In a few hours it will fill again with the sounds of combat and the roar of crowds, but for now it rests in perfect silence, ready to receive whatever stories the day might bring. Your work has made this readiness possible, transforming yesterday's chaos into tomorrow's potential. The streets of Rome at dawn tell their own quiet story. You walk through neighbourhoods where citizens are beginning their daily routines, where the sounds of normal life, crying babies, barking dogs, the splash of water from fountains, create the background music of urban existence. This is the Rome that exists between spectacles, the ordinary life that makes extraordinary events possible. Your path takes you past the bakeries where panis quadratus is already emerging from the ovens, past the fountains where slaves and free citizens alike gather to fill their water jugs, past the small shrines where early risers pause to offer prayers for the day ahead. The city awakens gradually, like a vast organism stretching after restful sleep. The Subura district, where you were born and still live in modest quarters provided for public slaves, greets you with familiar sights and sounds. Children play in the narrow streets, their laughter echoing off the close-built apartment buildings. Women gossip at the wells, sharing news and advice with the easy camaraderie of neighbours who have watched each other's families grow and change through the years. You pass workers heading to their own assignments, bakers carrying flour, water carriers with their amphora, craftsmen carrying the tools of their trades. Each person you see is part of Rome's vast circulation, the movement of goods and services that keeps the city alive. Your night work at the amphitheatre is just one thread in this enormous tapestry of urban life. The morning light reveals details invisible in darkness, the careful stonework of the buildings, the intricate mosaics that decorate even modest doorways, the small gardens that citizens maintain in whatever space they can find. Rome's beauty exists not just in its grand monuments, but in these countless small touches that make the city a place worth living in. Your building, a modest insula 4 stories high, stands solid and welcoming in the morning light. The ground floor shops are beginning to open, their proprietors arranging goods and sweeping the areas in front of their establishments. The scent of fresh bread mingles with the smell of olive oil and the faint perfume of flowers from the small gardens that tenants maintain on the building's roof. Your quarters face east, and the morning sun streams through the single window to illuminate the space with golden light. You move through your morning routine with the same careful attention you bring to work, washing with water drawn from the building's cistern, arranging your few possessions, preparing a simple breakfast of bread and watered wine. The bread comes from the bakery downstairs, still warm from the ovens. The wine, a light vintage, mixes perfectly with water to create the refreshing drink that Romans prefer for the morning meal. As you eat, you can hear the city fully awakening outside your window. Cartwheels rumble over stone paving, merchants call out their wares, and the general hum of urban life builds toward the crescendo it will reach by midday. Your few possessions reflect the practical needs of your position. Tools for maintaining equipment, a change of clothing, and a small collection of items that connect you to the larger world beyond your work. These simple belongings represent a life lived with purpose, even within the constraints of your circumstances. The small shrine in the corner holds offerings to the lares and penates, the household gods who protect all who dwell here. A few drops of wine, a small piece of bread, and a prayer of gratitude for the night's successful work and the day's coming rest. These simple rituals connect you to traditions that stretch back to Rome's founding, providing continuity and meaning in a world that often emphasizes change and innovation. You understand that your work, though performed in darkness and often unnoticed, serves something larger than yourself. Every arena you clean, every piece of equipment you maintain, every small act of care contributes to the ongoing miracle of Roman civilization. The amphitheatre where you work is just one expression of humanity's drive to create beauty, to gather in community, to celebrate the courage and skill that makes civilization possible. Sleep comes gently, carrying you into dreams that blend memory and imagination. You find yourself walking through the Colosseum as it might have been in its first days, travertine gleaming white as snow, bronze fittings bright as gold, every detail perfect and new. The arena floor stretches before you like a blank scroll, waiting for history to write its stories across the carefully prepared sand. In your dream, you're both observer and participant, watching the amphitheatre fill with spectators from across the empire. Citizens from Gaul and Britain, merchants from Egypt and Syria, soldiers from the frontier provinces, all gathered to witness the spectacles that celebrate Roman unity and power. Their voices blend into a harmony that speaks of shared purpose and common identity. The gladiators in your dream fight with honour and skill, their contests becoming elaborate dances that celebrate human courage and determination. No blood stains the sand. Instead, fallen warriors rise again to accept the applause of appreciative crowds. Victory and defeat become equally worthy of celebration, different notes in the symphony of human experience. You see yourself in the dream as you truly are, a guardian of sacred space, a keeper of the stage where community happens. Your broom becomes a scepter, your bucket of cleaning solution transforms into a vessel of blessing, and your simple work reveals itself as essential to the maintenance of civilization itself. The dream shifts and flows like water, carrying you through scenes of past and future. You see the amphitheatre as it was built, stone by stone, by craftsmen who understood that they were creating something that would outlast their own lives. You witness the careful planning that went into every detail, the mathematical precision that ensures perfect acoustics and sightlines, the engineering genius that makes the building both beautiful and functional. As your dream deepens, you find yourself floating on the Tiber, the great river that has carried Rome's fortunes for 8 centuries. The water beneath you runs clear and cool, reflecting the stars that have watched over the city since its founding. You drift past familiar landmarks, the Campus Martius, where citizens gather for elections, the Circus Maximus, where chariot races thrill hundreds of thousands, the theatres where poets share their visions of human experience. Each building you pass represents the same principle that guides your work in the amphitheatre, the Roman genius for creating spaces where community can flourish. Architecture becomes a form of philosophy, expressing beliefs about how people should live together. how individual excellence can serve the common good, how beauty and function can unite to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The river carries you past the great bridges that span its width, each one a marvel of engineering that makes the city more unified and accessible. Like your own work, these structures serve essential but often unnoticed functions, enabling commerce, connecting neighbourhoods, allowing the free flow of people and ideas that keeps the empire vital and growing. In your dream, you understand that everything is connected. Your careful maintenance of the amphitheatre, the bridge builder's precise calculations, the aqueduct engineer's patient surveying, the road builder's attention to drainage and foundation. All of it serves the same ultimate purpose, creating the infrastructure that allows civilization to flourish. The water beneath you whispers stories of all the Roman workers who have contributed to the city's greatness. Not just the famous generals and senators whose names fill the histories, but the countless skilled craftsmen whose anonymous labour created the monuments that will outlast empires. Your name may not be recorded in marble, but your work is written into the very stones of the amphitheatre. The dream shifts, and you find yourself in the deepest chambers beneath the Colosseum, where the most fundamental work of maintenance takes place. Here, in tunnels that few citizens ever see, the aqueduct system delivers the water that makes everything else possible. The engineering marvel that brings mountain streams to flow beneath the arena represents the same dedication to excellence that characterizes all Roman achievement. You follow the water's path through carefully graded channels, marveling at the precision required to maintain exactly the right flow rate over dozens of miles. Every few hundred yards, maintenance shafts allow workers to descend for cleaning and repair, a testament to Roman understanding that even the most perfect systems require ongoing care. The dream teaches you that your work above ground reflects and depends upon this hidden infrastructure. The clean arena, the functioning lifts, the reliable water supply for washing equipment, all of it connects to this underground network that operates continuously, invisibly supporting the spectacles that dazzle Rome's citizens. In the deepest tunnel, you encounter an inscription left by one of the original builders. Gaius Didius Gallus, engineer, built this for the glory of Rome and the service of her citizens. The simple pride in those words mirrors your own feelings about the work you do, not seeking fame or recognition, but finding deep satisfaction in contributing to something larger and more lasting than individual ambition. The underground chambers echo with the sound of flowing water, a constant reminder that the city's life depends on systems that work reliably, day after day, maintained by people who understand that unglamorous work often proves most essential. Your cleaning of the arena participates in this same ethic of service, ensuring that the visible spectacle rests upon an invisible foundation of competence and care. Rising through the layers of your dream, you find yourself in workshops where the amphitheatre's equipment is crafted and maintained. Here, master artisans shape bronze and iron into the tools that make gladiatorial contests possible. Not instruments of mere violence, but precisely engineered implements that require skill to use effectively. The metalworkers who forge swords and tridents take the same pride in their craft that you take in yours. Each blade must balance perfectly, each point must hold its edge through demanding use, each piece must serve its user reliably when life hangs in the balance. The margin for error is non-existent. Inferior work means death in the arena. You watch the craftsmen test each piece with careful attention, checking weight and balance, examining joints and edges, ensuring that every item meets the exacting standards that Roman citizens expect. Their work, like yours, operates mostly outside public view, but the quality of their efforts directly affects the spectacles that entertain and unite the empire's diverse population. In your dream, you understand that every role in maintaining the amphitheatre requires the same fundamental virtues: attention to detail, respect for the tools and materials of your trade, understanding that individual excellence serves collective purpose. Whether forging weapons or sweeping sand, the underlying ethic remains consistent. The workshop masters nod to you with professional recognition, one skilled worker acknowledging another. They understand that your careful maintenance of their products shows proper respect for their craftsmanship, just as their precise work makes your cleaning duties more meaningful. The arena functions because every participant, from gladiator to groundskeeper, brings competence and commitment to their assigned role. Your dream expands to encompass the changing seasons and their effect on the amphitheatre's rhythms. Spring brings the first major games after winter's break, when new gladiators make their debuts and fresh sand gleams white as marble under the Mediterranean sun. The work is lighter then, crowds are well behaved, equipment has been thoroughly maintained during the off-season, and the general mood of renewal makes even routine tasks feel hopeful. Summer intensifies everything. Larger crowds, more frequent games, the challenge of maintaining comfort and cleanliness in oppressive heat. This is when your skills are most tested, when the difference between good and excellent maintenance becomes obvious. The lavender you tend around the amphitheatre proves its worth during these months, helping to manage the odours that would otherwise make the building unpleasant. Autumn brings the season's most elaborate spectacles, exotic animals from distant provinces, elaborate stage sets that transform the arena into forests or lakes, gladiatorial contests that feature the year's most skilled fighters. Your preparation for these events requires months of planning, coordination with multiple groups of workers, and attention to details that spectators will never notice but that make the difference between good entertainment and unforgettable experience. Winter offers time for the deep maintenance that keeps the amphitheatre functioning, repair of the mechanical systems, replacement of worn equipment, renovation of areas that suffer damage during the busy season. These quiet months allow you to take pride in craftsmanship for its own sake, to perfect systems and procedures that will serve the next year's increased demands. Through all these seasonal changes, your work provides continuity and stability. The arena that hosts spring's fresh beginnings also serves autumn's grand climaxes, maintained by the same careful attention that makes reliability possible across changing circumstances. In the deepest part of your dream, you find yourself surrounded by all the workers who contribute to the amphitheatre's success. Not just the visible performers, but the vast community of skilled labour that makes Roman spectacle possible. Carpenters who build the temporary structures, painters who create scenic backdrops, animal trainers who prepare exotic beasts for safe presentation, cooks who feed the performers and staff. Each group brings specialised knowledge and takes pride in particular skills, but all share the understanding that excellence in individual work serves collective purpose. The carpenter's precise joints support the painter's artistic vision, which enhances the animal trainer's dramatic presentation, all of which depends on the cook's nutritious meals and your own careful maintenance of the performance space. You see clearly how your role fits into this larger pattern, not the most dramatic or visible work, but essential to everything else. The gladiator's skill means nothing if his weapons are poorly maintained. The crowd's enjoyment suffers if the arena is dirty or poorly organised. The entire spectacle fails if any link in the chain of support breaks down. The dream shows you moments of cooperation that rarely receive attention. Animal trainers working with your cleaning crew to ensure safe transitions between events, gladiators helping to test equipment that your maintenance keeps in perfect condition, spectators unconsciously appreciating the cleanliness and organisation that your work provides. This community of labour creates something larger than the sum of its parts. Not just entertainment, but a shared experience that reinforces Roman identity and values. Citizens leave the amphitheatre feeling more connected to each other and to the empire that makes such spectacular gatherings possible. As your dream begins its gentle transition toward waking consciousness, you find yourself in communion with the amphitheatre itself. Not just the building, but the accumulated wisdom embedded in its stones. Each block of travertine and tufa carries the knowledge of the craftsmen who shaped it, the engineers who positioned it, and the workers who have maintained it through generations of use. The building speaks to you of patience, the understanding that true achievement requires time, that excellence emerges through countless small improvements rather than dramatic gestures. The amphitheatre has reached its current perfection through decades of refinement, each season bringing minor adjustments that collectively transform good into exceptional. You feel the building's gratitude for your careful attention, the way your daily cleaning prevents the accumulation of damage that would otherwise require major repairs, your prompt attention to small problems that keeps them from becoming large ones, your respect for the materials and systems that enables them to serve far beyond their expected lifespan. The stones themselves seem to pulse with the energy of all the human activity they have witnessed and supported. Not just the dramatic moments of gladiatorial combat, but the quiet hours of preparation, the patient work of maintenance, the countless individual efforts that create the foundation upon which spectacle rests. In this deepest communion with your workplace, you understand that your role as keeper of the arena connects you to something eternal, the human drive to create beauty, to gather in community, to celebrate the courage and skill that make civilization possible. Your work serves not just today's spectators, but future generations who will inherit the amphitheatre and find in it the same sources of wonder and inspiration. The dream begins to fade as real dawn approaches your quarters. The golden light that filled your sleeping visions gradually merges with actual sunlight streaming through the shutters, and the voices of your dream companions blend with the sounds of Rome awakening outside your walls. You surface from sleep slowly, reluctantly leaving the profound sense of connection and purpose that the dream provided. But as consciousness returns, you realize that the dream's insights remain accessible, that your daily work carries the same meaning and significance that your sleeping mind revealed in symbolic form. The bread scent from the bakery below, the sound of neighbours beginning their morning routines, the sight of familiar objects in your simply furnished room, all of these serve to ground you in the present moment, while preserving the dream's larger perspective on your life's purpose and meaning. You stretch in your sleeping area, feeling the satisfaction that comes from both good rest and meaningful work. Your muscles remember the previous night's labour, not as fatigue but as the pleasant tiredness that follows effort well applied. Your mind retains the clarity that comes from understanding your place in the larger pattern of Roman life. The transition from sleep to wakefulness feels gentle and natural, unmarked by the anxiety or confusion that often accompanies abrupt awakening. Instead, you feel prepared for whatever the day might bring, secure in the knowledge that your work matters and that you perform it well. The dream's lesson stays with you, that every role in maintaining civilization requires the same fundamental virtues, that individual excellence serves collective purpose, and that even the humblest work participates in humanity's greatest achievements when performed with skill and dedication. As full consciousness returns, you lie quietly for a few more minutes, savouring the peace that comes with work completed and rest achieved. Outside your window, Rome continues its eternal rhythm. Citizens beginning their daily routines, merchants opening their shops, the great machinery of empire stirring to life once again. Tonight, you will return to the amphitheatre for another shift of maintenance and care. The arena will once again bear the marks of the day's spectacles, and you will once again transform it into the pristine space that Romans expect and deserve. The work will be similar to last night's, but never exactly the same. Each day brings its own challenges and satisfactions, its own opportunities to serve excellently. This rhythm of labour and rest, of service and renewal, connects you to something larger than individual ambition or personal comfort. You're part of the great community that makes Roman civilization possible, not through conquest or politics, but through the patient application of skill and care to the tasks that maintain the infrastructure of shared life. The amphitheatre will outlast your service, perhaps even the empire itself, but the care you bring to its maintenance, the pride you take in work well performed, the respect you show for the materials and systems entrusted to your keeping, these qualities become part of the building's permanent character, written into its stones as surely as any architect's plans or emperor's inscriptions. With this understanding, you close your eyes once more, allowing the gentle sounds of waking Rome to carry you into the final moments of rest before the day begins. When you rise, it will be with purpose and dignity, ready to contribute once again to the ongoing miracle of civilization, one careful sweep of the broom at a time. The arena sleeps now, patient and ready. Soon it will wake to new dramas, new celebrations of human courage and skill, and you will be there, as you always are, ensuring that the stage is worthy of the stories it will hold. You understand now what the dream taught you, that your work, however humble it may seem, participates in humanity's greatest achievements. Every clean arena, every properly maintained piece of equipment, every small act of care helps build and maintain not just a building, but a civilization that celebrates the best of what human beings can accomplish together. The stars fade as dawn approaches, but their lesson remains clear. In the vast sweep of history, individual lives may seem small, but every act of competence and care adds something valuable to the eternal record. Your story, a night's work in ancient Rome, performed with skill and dedication, becomes part of the larger story of how human beings create beauty, maintain order, and find meaning in service to something greater than themselves. Sleep comes easily now, carried by the knowledge that you have done your work well, that you have contributed to something larger than yourself, and that tomorrow's sun will rise over an amphitheatre made ready by your careful hands. In dreams, the arena fills again with light and sound and human drama, but in the quiet hours before dawn, it rests in perfect peace, maintained by workers who understand that civilization depends not on heroes alone, but on the countless individuals who perform necessary tasks with skill, dedication, and quiet pride. With the arena cleansed and torches dim, you lean against a travertine pillar and close your eyes. The city of marble will keep its silent watch. The stars will write their slow verses across the sky, and dawn will find everything quietly in place. May your dreams be as calm as Rome's midnight corridors, and may peace sweep across your mind like lavender-scented water across ancient stone. Sleep well, gentle listener. You have walked through the quiet hours, when Rome's greatest amphitheatre rests between spectacles, tended by hands that understand the sacred nature of maintaining the spaces where community gathers. The work continues through the centuries, patient, necessary, and dignified. Tomorrow the arena will wake to new stories, but tonight it sleeps in perfect peace, ready for whatever dramas the dawn might bring. Good night.